Welcome back to Learning Torah the Shema. We're going to continue on talking about this podcast I saw, which I'll link in the notes. So this is part 2. So we talked about how in the podcast they were talking to these expert shadchanim, and they said that, a shadchan who's really, really good, the best of the best, does between 15 to 18 shidduchim a year. Which, we don't have to get back into that, but that's just wild. That's just wild, right? Let's say a shadchan has 1,000 people. That means that it's less than 2% success, which is just crazy. And the real truth is that a shadchan doesn't have just 1,000. They have thousands and thousands of people that need to get married. That's the real truth. So it really is less than 1% success. So this is just shocking beyond belief. And I want to talk about another thing that when the men shadchanim were speaking, that one of them mentioned, and he was talking about how to prepare, not right. There's overly preparing, and then there's just regular preparing them for the date. And he was talking about the importance of that because there are some girls that only get a date once every 2 years. Right? People don't understand when I'm saying, talking about this, the importance of how things need to change, and people don't realize it. But, listen to podcasts on it of people that are saying honestly what happens as they're a shadchan or shadchanit, what happens, and it just because someone got married, or a whole bunch of people got married, doesn't mean that there's a lot that aren't. And it doesn't mean that there aren't divorces, and it doesn't mean that it's the system. Since people saw this, I want to say that there is no system, right? If a shadchan can only make fifth around, the best of the best is 15 to 8, which means the worst shadchan is probably making between 1 to 4 shidduchim a year. You understand? And most of them aren't good. It's not their fault, you understand? I'm not blaming them, but that's just the reality. Really, really good shadchanim are very rare. So which means the majority of the people that are shadchanim are not good shadchanim. Maybe Roiv is average. I would, now again, probably not. And again, the shadchanim, they are so special. They mean well. You understand? We're trying to say that the people that are limiting the shadchanim and what they can do should stop limiting them. That's what we're talking about. That's our focus. So going back to this, just imagine a girl is waiting. She has to wait. Every 2 years, she gets one suggestion. And I know people that go through that. It's not just 2 years. It could be 5 years. It could be their whole life. And if there's any suggestion, it's someone that is very displeasing. You understand? This is the reality. So I just wanted to let you know that this, when they talk about on this podcast, which I'll link in the notes, Be'ezras Hashem, God willing, when I link them, and then they talk about, well, as much as people might not like us, this is the way it has been done, and and this is how people find shidduchim. So I just want to say that again, the shadchanim are being abused, and they don't even realize it. You understand? They don't even realize who's the abuser. It's not the poor singles. It's the rabbanim and rebbitzins and rebbes and shivas and chachams that force them to work in this way, that make girls and boys think in these radical, insane ways. It's their fault. We're not blaming them, but I'm just letting you know that that's not called a system. If in a year, it's 365 days a year, theoretically, you could be making shidduchim all 365 days, and even if you took out a Shabbos, you have over 300 days. You understand? 15 to 18 for someone, and that's only someone who's a pro, a real pro. This is not a system. You would have more success if just some random person on the street was matching up people. You would have more success in marriages than this. You understand? So things have to change. And I want to say again to the Shadchanim, you have to get together. You have to create a stronghold, and you have to together say that from now on, we do not allow the parents, usually it's the mother, but we do not allow the parents, and we do not allow the people coming to us trying to find shidduchim, whether it's the parents coming for the kids or the kids are doing it for themselves. Wherever it is, we do not allow people to abuse us. If you do not trust us, don't work with us. Make sure to have a different job that you can support your family. This is just an add-on. You must say that people need to start trusting you. And I think it should, the idea of resume is that only you, the shadchan, looks at it. Now, I think people that are smarter, when we're talking about the real pros, they could do a lot even without resumes. You understand? Meaning that they look into, but never to give a resume to the parents of the child or to the adult that's asking you to help them get married. Never to give them resumes. Tell them they have to learn how to trust you. They work with you. And if you just see that they're not being sensible, then you don't read them more shidduchim. You understand? You don't just allow them, and you have to create a group. You have to have strength to your words. It's not just your one leaf floating in the air. It's flying in the air. It's not that. It's not one leaf on the ocean. You can't be that. You have to be combined, and of course, to be caring. You understand? If someone says that he doesn't like the way she looks. If she says, I can't respect him. You understand? He's stupid to me. You have to understand what's reasonable or not. Those are reasonable things. Don't force shidduchim. You understand? But when people say unreasonable things, then you got to be on top of that. You understand? So this is of utmost importance. Just get rid of all these things. All these, the Shadchanim, they have to focus on what's really important, right? What's really going to make the marriage, and that is the people themselves. Anything outside of the people themselves is not important. As much as people want to make it important, it's very much of little relevance to the marriage. And people are, they look at sometimes their parents or other people that they know that they're already 30, 40, 50 years married, and they're looking for someone that's that, and you have to explain to them how to be reasonable. You're looking for someone that's going to turn into that, but to think that he's going to be that now, that's just unrealistic. And you have to say this to them. It is so important. The Shadchanim cannot allow people to treat them like garbage. I've spoken to Shadchanim, and I've heard them speaking, even on podcasts they say it, how the mother will say, okay, I want you to help this daughter, but the other one, no. Because she's really something special, whatever. She's very beautiful, and we could get her really top of the line, and that's not you. We'll go to different shotsmen for that. Don't allow people to treat you like garbage. And when people come, you have to say, well, do you have other daughters, other sons that need to get married? Of course, and if you just say we can only work on this one and not the other one, then I don't work with you. You understand? Don't let yourself be treated like garbage. And Shadchanim have to know that what they're explaining to the boy. What they're explaining to the boy is, of course, first that she's beautiful, and then also that she's a nice person. What they're explaining to a girl is that he is a very mechubedika person. He takes life very seriously, and he's also handsome. You understand? You have to on the first thing that a shadchan should be doing is showing the boy a picture of the girl, unless they're there. Unless you could bring them both. Say, come to my house. I want you to meet each other. But if that's not the scenario, then showing them a picture. Because you can't just expect boys to just take out girls, and also that girls should just be taken out. You understand? And before they even saw them, right? So, it's you can't fight against the reality of the way Hashem made things. You have a problem with it? Fight with God. You understand? But this is the reality. You understand? A girl has to be beautiful in the man's eyes, whatever he considers beautiful. And it could be he has a few things what he considers beautiful. You understand? But it has to be beautiful in his eyes. And it's not something you can really ask him. You have to show him a picture or have the girl there or something. You say, you know what, I have this really special cook, come over, get to know, talk to each other for a few minutes, see if it's something. But just that they should take them out and they have to find a place to take them, and it's very difficult because they're embarrassed basically to go anywhere. If you take them to a pizza shop that there's other people there, for some reason, the ideology is you have to take them somewhere out of town where you can't find a Jew. You understand that? There aren't from Jews. I would think the opposite. You should take them where there are Jews. Keep it in a Jewish place. But for that, you understand this. It's another one of these insanities. So it's of utmost importance that what a boy's looking for, the first thing is if she's beautiful. Now, if she's beautiful and she's nasty, that's not going to work, of course. But the first thing is she beautiful in his eyes? Show him a picture. Don't make it feel like you're going to throw him out if he shows you a picture. When he finally has the courage to ask you, then you show it to him. Some of them even most of them will probably give you a hard time. Just show it to him right away. I'm thinking of someone, here's a picture. Do you like her? Now you tell him about her. You could showing the picture, you could start speaking about her at the same time. You understand? And for a girl, you first start talking about, because a girl is marrying a man for security and honor. That's why she's marrying him. And honor is even before. It's honor and security. And you have to speak about those two aspects of how this person is honorable and you think he's going to be someone great one day, and his security, how he wants to take care of her, and also show her pictures of both. But by a boy, the first thing you do is to show a picture, then you talk about her. By a girl, you talk about him and then you show a picture, because they're looking more for, you see girls, they marry someone's, I see it all the time, they marry people that are sometimes very ugly, even Down syndrome people, but they don't see that. Now, of course, when it comes to Down syndrome, you should never do that to someone, but unfortunately it is done. So this is the reality. And this is how shadchanim have to work. They have to stand up for themselves. It's very simple. If you're coming for me to help, that means you want me to help you. Not, I didn't, right? The shadchan has to understand for themselves that I'm not, I did not sell myself as a slave to anybody. For some reason, the parents think that the shadchan is a slave. They don't realize that this is a human being. If you can do it, so that's why you're coming to me. So if you're coming to me, if you want me as a slave, I'm not willing to do that. Most shadchan unfortunately say, okay, I'll be your slave. You understand? Shadchan has to say, no, I won't be your slave. I'll be a person. And if you can't help your child in this area in life, that means I'm taking your place, which means you need to trust me. You have to tell your daughter or son to trust me. We're not saying that when I say, I'm not going to tell them to get married. That's something they have to figure out. But when I set them up and they need to meet, and when they meet, they can't just not get married unless it's a good reason. You understand? A shadchan has to understand that the people that they're working with, that the shadchan or the shadchanit, they are the parent in that aspect. Otherwise, the parents would do it. You understand? And if the parents want me to be a slave, I would hope that people won't allow themselves to be a slave. And that's what they have to realize, and that's what they have to tell them. And when people see that you won't be able to push over the shadchanim, then guess what? They'll stop pushing them over. And they'll start treating them with basic respect. And hopefully a little more than basic. As in this aspect, you're the parent. You are the parent. You understand? A parent doesn't mean that you trick them to marrying someone Down syndrome. You have to understand your responsibility. Even though you see this nice girl, that she's a little Down syndrome, but you are the parent to both of them, and therefore you have to do the best. That means you could only marry off this girl to someone who's also a bit Down syndrome. You can't marry off to a normal boy, even though he won't realize. You understand? You just can't do it. Why? Because you are their parent when it comes to this. And this is very, very important. This is extremely important. And you have to take time to teach them what, simple, we're not talking about deep, just simple realities of marriage and what makes a successful marriage, what they should be looking for. We're not talking about deep, but they have to have, they have no clue. You understand? The only thing the boy's looking for, he thinks, is just beauty. And the girl's just thinking, how honorable is it for me to marry him? You understand? They're very shallow. You have to teach them. They were never taught. You understand? You have to take time to teach them simple things. I'm not talking about the deepest depths, but simple things. That don't expect everything now. You tell the girl, don't expect everything now. The point is that he'll turn into someone great, but you're not going to marry unless you marry someone that's 40 years older than you. You're not going to marry someone that's on the level of someone that has been 40-year married. It's just not possible. And for the boys, you understand, you say it's true. You're looking for someone beautiful, but doesn't have to be 100%. 86 is fine. You understand? Today everybody wants everything. And if it's not, they say no. More so the girls say no when it's not everything they want. Boys, as they get older, they get a little more seichel. Girls, it's very difficult because they have been doctrinized that if I have a munah, then this will happen, which is whatever they want, and that's not the reality. It's not Hashem. That's just not true, because Hashem doesn't say that. Hashem says have a munah and I'll do the best for you, and it doesn't make a difference really what you think. Hashem will do the best for you, whether you think it's the best or not. You understand? So, and that's actually one of the ways to figure out, am I thinking properly? How come I'm not having success? Obviously, Hashem doesn't agree with me, right? That's actually one of the ways to figure out, is Hashem happy with me? So this is, extremely important, and there should never be a case, a scenario, which unfortunately exists today, hundreds and hundreds of girls, thousands and thousands of girls, that they have to wait 2 years to get one shidduch, a year, 6 months. It should not happen. And it should be easy to get on a date. It shouldn't be difficult, and it shouldn't be causing difficulty to other people in order for you to get on a date. And we have to be more, once we start taking control and we stop letting the, You have an asylum. If the asylees are the ones in control, right? That's sort of what's happening today. That the asylees are the ones in control of the world, of us. The normal people have to start taking back control of the asylum, and then maybe people wouldn't be crazy. You understand? A lot of, we have great girls and great boys, and shidduchim should be going fast, and people should be staying married, but we turn them into crazy people with these crazy non-Jewish ideologies of learning full time, of the woman bringing in all the money, all these crazy ideologies of not allowing young men to go to work, keeping children, not allowing them to grow up and become adults. It's endless, endless. Just these things, how much damage it causes, is endless. And there's so many more disruptive, wrong ideologies that have nothing to do with the Torah that people are doing. Hashem wants a person to be balanced. He wants a person to become a man. He wants a woman to become a woman. He doesn't want us to linger our kids in childhood, to make them be a child for longer than is needed. And stop being afraid of everything. The real truth, the only thing you're afraid of is your own kavod, is your own money. That's what you're afraid of. It has nothing to do about them. Because you see the damage you're causing and you ignore it. And if you don't see the damage, then you're just simply stupid. And that's another, right? Then, unfortunately, there's a lot of stupid people. Unfortunately. So, this is so important. Girls are being terribly hurt. Their ideologies being warped. And their life being ruined. Men are being terribly, terribly hurt. And people trying to warp their ideology. It's a less effective on men, but the problem is that men need a woman. And the women are easier to be warped, especially because the woman is not the target of the warping. Right? A girl, when she finishes school, she could do whatever she wants. Maybe she could go to seminary, but after that, she could do whatever she wants. Men are the ones that are being locked up. The girls are not the ones being locked up, so they don't realize what's going on. You understand? They're not the ones being oppressed as much. The men are the ones that are, and the people that are oppressing them are calling it holy, are calling it kadosh, are calling it that this is what Hashem wants. And it couldn't be farther from the truth. And I want to say again, the women should know, the young women that are unfortunately older and not married, or God forbid divorced, the greatest thing you could do is marry someone that's balanced. Balance doesn't mean that he's perfect. You have to understand that the men are very, very hurt. And we're not blaming you, the women. You were also brainwashed. But you can't just claim brainwash forever. At a certain point, you have to pick up yourself. Right? You can't just allow someone to continuously rape you. At some point, you have to get up and say, I'm not going to allow this raping anymore. Right? When someone rapes you, or when someone makes you think in a way that makes it that you cannot be with a man, that's also another form of raping, and that's what's happening. The girls are being raped. They're being forced to be single. And this is terrible just because of these foolish ideologies that they're putting out there. Just a few of these foolish, there's a lot of them, but just a few of them are so damaging, and it's hurting the women. But more than it's hurting the women, it's hurting the men, because the woman is not the focus of the brainwash. Well, I mean, they're both the focus of the brainwash, but they're not getting the brunt. They're not the ones being really hurt, because they're more free than the men. but the men are the ones who are, they're just having, it is the worst time for the men. I remember, so women have to understand this and love, 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 love.